Welcome to Liminal Writing, where we write and talk about the in-between spaces of that which have happened and the spaces that are yet to be done. Liminal writing is about our threshold spaces and what we've uncovered.
We started in the early days of 2021 when our world was in lockdown. Inspired by Natalie Goldberg's wild mind approach, we gave ourselves these guideposts: timed writings, free flow, the use of trigger phrases, which we collected into a list which we called our inspiration bay. We said, be brave, no excuses, no editing. So here we are, our works and our stories. Thank you for joining us on Liminal Writing. Ready?
All right. Yes.
So today's trigger line was from a book that you, Lee, had read.
It's from the book called Good Prose, The Art of Nonfiction by Tracy, Kidder, and Richard Todd.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the line
Yes.
that we have as our
And then I'll
trigger
go
line?
ahead with my writing.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Although the truth must always be found, some facts sometimes obscure the truth.
Yeah.
Ooh. Lately, I've been pushed into my own process of rediscovery to look back at the truths in my life. Indeed, so many facts, the outward manifestations of my attempts at being meaningful and useful to this world, have in many ways successfully obscured the truths about my life journey. Some of these truths were obscured by my own unconscious self. Feeling unwanted, rejected, ignored, insulted, being put down, minimized from the womb to the early years of also disrupted innocence was masked so well by being the genius child, the orator in school, the reader in church, whilst at home being the perfectly quiet creature that never demanded for much, that played the very opposite of an attention-seeking child's game.
Yeah.
What truths do I still need to find, and what truths are hiding these from me? I think there are so many more wounds and unacknowledged pain that I had responded to with numbness and disassociation. For that is or was what I had learned to adopt in order to survive, all from an early age and cemented as a coping mechanism in my growing years. And I turn to some poetry. I peel off skin upon skin, layer after layer, like a large violet onion made solid in the thickness of its existence. Every peeling of skin revealing yet another layer, sometimes bruised, sometimes oozing with cramped juices, always making me shed tears.
Good. Yeah.
There.
All right. Here's mine. Although the truth must always be found, some facts sometimes obscure the truth. There are truths that are outward. I'll repeat. There are truths that are outrightly living in the open. The color of one's skin, the liveliness of one's stride, and the softness of one's voice at the close of day. And then there are truths that lay throbbing in the deep of one's being, that the color of one's skin causes others scorn and hate, that my stride becomes a flight for safety as others try to rub me out, and my voice is drowned by others, erasing a life that blooms inside. And that's it.
Nice.
I like how you were combining both the prose and poetry in one. The image that you have about the use of the onion, the use of the onion as a way to give the listener an idea of what that's like. Of yes, being peeled away and being squeezed out of the juices that are vital to you, that creates that magical color of the magenta, the violet in the onion. And then what happens to it as it lays there after being squeezed out and diminished. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But also you know how when I was writing it, I was also reminded, or it was very clear in my mind how the onion feels. You know how when it's really, really big and thick, it's
Yeah.
like solid. It's so
Full
solid, right?
and heavy. It
It's
feels
and
like
heavy.
weight,
It's like,
has weight.
yeah, it's when you hold it, it's really just so solid. But
Yeah.
then you peel away layers,
Yeah.
and then it becomes this kind of just softer, flimsier pieces
Mm.
of it. And even one even especially the outer ones, right? Even one layer of it, you can actually disintegrate it into layers, like smaller skins, almost out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just that when I was writing too, I was like, how, especially the early part and the prose part, where we look at people sometimes, and this has been written of a lot, how the
Mm.
most cheerful ones in the room are sometimes the one whose troubles run deep,
Yeah. Who bears the most sorrow? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or those who cheer others are actually the most, can be the ones who kind of need the cheering up inside, but they
Yeah.
want, there's their way to kind of cope with that, because yeah, they know how it feels to be in darkness, so they kind of and I kind of was like that even at work here when I first came to the UK. And
Yeah.
I would, in the winter, I would wear these maxi dresses that would have the Asian prints that are really kind of colorful, and I
Yeah.
would wear winter coats above it, but when I get to the office, I'd take it off and I'd be this colorful, cheery person in the corridor, just kind of saying cheery good morning to everyone.
Yeah.
But I was going through depression too, in a way, because of so many things, like, just deep issues I got, or not depression, but this kind of, there's a lot of, yeah, the inner wounds that I needed to heal, that are just getting their space now, 10 years later. I guess that's how this struck me, that there's some of it we see as facts, which are as I said, the outward manifestation of who we, but they obscure the truth that's inside us, which is a being there that's wounded and wants that space to heal. So yeah, that's how it was for me. Anyway, for you, what was it like? What
Um,
did it? How was the experience?
so it took me a long time, like what we had said earlier on, like we normally time ourselves as 10.
Yeah,
And for
10.
you, for both you and I, we took
We wanted more
longer
time, yeah.
because I spent a considerable amount of time just rereading the trigger line and then trying to find how I would best express it as the way it is right now. And when I say it is, so meaning how it affects both myself and my community. So like the queer community,
Right,
right?
right.
So that's how I was writing this. So both, a part of myself and as well as how others have felt. I don't know. I was really very much drawn to it. And I feel that if we come back to this, we can write in a different
Agree.
way and a different lens to it.
I
But for
think we
me, this
should.
is,
Let's do
yeah,
it. Yeah.
this is where it landed for me right now. That your truths,
Mm.
the truths that are visible to others that brings you joy also causes others to feel differently from how you feel, right?
Yeah.
And then probably there's a tendency, I don't know why it is now in our world, that instead of celebrating the differences, there's a tendency to, we need to be, everybody needs to be uniform, or you need to be like me, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh my God, look at you. You know, you're so different from
Celebrate
me.
your uniqueness.
Yeah, and together, this is what we learn from each other. So this is
I think
where it lands for me.
I think isn't it because when you are different, when you come out to be different, it can cause discomfort for others. It causes discomfort. And sometimes it is because they actually might deep inside also want to have that expression of their individuality and uniqueness, but they're
Yes,
scared of it.
yes,
Sometimes when someone then breaks out of that norm and
yes,
becomes this something that they can't box in or doesn't fit into whatever image of normality or what should be for them,
yeah,
it triggers discomfort.
yes, very much so. I don't know why, if it's in the way that we're educated, at least in the Western way that we're educated, that if you're different, then there's always a path for you which is a bit more rockier than others.
Right.
But maybe it is a system, because the school actually tries to churn out everybody at this, like, you know,
Yeah,
there's a
it's
set
easier
grade
to
you have to
control
do.
and put
Yes,
order in a system when everyone is predictable and you're able to kind of box them in.
yes,
And like for you, I admire the fact that you've been able to be clear about your preference, your
yeah,
identity, which is not within, it's out of the box in a sense, right? So but
yeah,
that's what it challenges.
yeah. Though the unique thing for both of us too is that we've been in spaces wherein it has allowed for us to be creative, for us to be unique, for us to be celebrated, right? Because I can't
It's true.
imagine to be living my life as like an accountant, because
True.
I'm not predicated to think that way, right? But then I do realize in our world there's always spaces for all of us, right?